guys, it's Stella. Welcome back to my channel. So last week I posted a picture on Instagram and I said, ask me all your questions, give them to me, and then I would make a video and answer them for you. So today, that is what I'm gonna do. First though, I know a lot of you guys follow my channel because maybe you're aspiring flight attendants, or maybe you're thinking about becoming a flight attendant and you kind of wanna know a little bit about the lifestyle, what to expect, what it's gonna be like, maybe some tips on interviewing. So I've tried to really cater my channel to you guys and then just to the people who are just interested in what a flight attendant's life is like. But I wanna let you guys know that one of the major airlines is hiring right now. They opened their hiring window yesterday, May 15th. Today is the 16th, so it should be open maybe about 2 to 4 weeks. So if you are interested in applying to be a flight attendant for American Airlines, a major mainline carrier, the largest airline in the world, then you guys, I will link it down below and you guys should definitely apply. It's a long process. It took me a year from the moment I applied to actually starting training. It took me a little over a year. So it's not something where you're gonna apply and you're gonna get it tomorrow or even next week. You're gonna apply, you're gonna go through all the steps, the whole process, and then you know, a year from now, you may finally be able to submit your resignation to your current job and quit and actually start the job as a flight attendant. So if you guys are interested in that, it's linked down below and I wish you guys all the luck. All right guys, so let's get into some of these questions. Now, I screenshotted the questions and the person who asked me the question. I'm really bad with these screen names, so I'm gonna try to pronounce them. Maybe I'll put like a picture of them in the description box or something. But okay, so the first one is from Selena_Lisette, and she asked, what were some personal challenges you had during flight attendant training? And did you ever feel like maybe you weren't cut out for the job? Love your videos, Stella. What were my personal challenges in flight attendant training? Basically, there was a lot of memorization and it moved really fast. So I think I just struggled with making sure that I was keeping up, and you know, we'd take a test and you had to like get that information out of your mind and move to the next thing that you were studying, because you were literally tested like a day. You literally had a test almost every single day that you were there. So you really had to memorize it, take a test, and then forget it, and then go to the next thing. So that was definitely a challenge. And then just how rigorous training is. It is like no joke, legit, like all day. So that was a little bit of a challenge. And then let's see, did you feel maybe you weren't cut out for the job? Yes, definitely. You know, you always doubt yourself, and I definitely had self-doubt, and I was like, am I gonna be able to do this? I've waited a year, you know, I applied a year ago, I've been waiting, and am I really gonna be able to be in a plane that long? You know, am I gonna get airsick? Am I, you know, how am I gonna do this? So yes, I doubted myself, but I just kept going and just kept going, and then I graduated, and then I started, and then now it's like, it's my favorite job ever. I love it. So, great question, Selena. All right, next question here comes from Raw White 1987. What is the craziest thing you've come across while working on board? So this is probably the #1 question I get asked. So many people ask me, what's the craziest thing that's happened? What's, you know, tell me the funniest story or something. And I've been working a little over 2 years and I haven't had, you know, crazy passenger story, you know, videotaping on the plane or anything like that. I would say probably just the scariest moment is one time we were trying to land into Miami and there was a tropical storm or something and it was really windy and we were going in for the landing and I'm looking out my window by my jump seat and the plane is literally like going like this, and I'm like, I look over the other flight attendant, I'm like, how's this gonna work out? Like, how are we gonna land with the plane like doing this? And sure enough, we go down and then we shoot back up and the captain comes over the loudspeaker and says, ladies and gentlemen, we had to abort landing due to weather conditions and it being too windy. We're gonna circle the airport and we're gonna try to land again. And I was like terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, come on. I called my mom right after the flight. I was like, Mom, we almost died. But we didn't, so I was being dramatic. Next question here is Carson W. Turner _ has recent airline controversy in the news affected how you work or how you're trained, etc.? So my company hasn't addressed it to us. You know, we have training every year. We always have to do compassion training or cultural training. And, you know, I've got a lot of people asking me about how do I feel about the recent events with certain airlines and dragging passengers off the plane and like hitting them or whatever happened there. And I honestly feel like I can't comment. I think it's really unfortunate, you know, for the passenger that got injured, for the flight crew that was working that flight. You know, I feel like everybody was looking at them like they hated them. And then, you know, all the media attention they got for the airport police department that came on and, you know, took the guy off. I just feel like all around, it was kind of just an unfortunate event, and I don't know what happened in the beginning. I don't know what happened at the very, very end. You know, I don't know what sparked all of that. So I really can't say, oh man, that guy was so wrong, or oh, they were so wrong. But I do know as flight attendants, if there's an unruly passenger or if something's going on, you know, a flight attendant isn't gonna go up there and drag the person off the plane. A flight attendant's gonna notify the captain, and the captain's going to notify airport security or airport police, and you know, they're gonna handle it from there. Flight attendant's job, we're mainly there just to inform. So we're there to inform the passengers, we're there to inform the captain, who will then inform somebody else, you know, if something's going on or if there's a situation. So it is unfortunate, and a lot of passengers that I've had on my flights the past few weeks have been joking around about a lot of it, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna stay quiet on it because I don't know enough about it to actually make a good opinion on it. But great question. Get asked that a lot. All right, next question here is from Carla or Carly A. Lane _ how many airlines did you apply for before you got hired, and what was your job before you got your job now? So I think a lot of people would be very surprised at the airline I'm with now. It took me, I applied to 2 airlines before I got my airline job. I applied to one and I failed the internet test. I thought, I mean, they were asking how many hours are in a day, and they had all these choices, and I'm like, it can't be as simple as 24. Like maybe they're asking like, oh, you can do so much more in the day, so I'm gonna say there's 36 hours in a day, you know, maybe optimistic. No, they wanted to know exactly how many hours were in that day. Bombed that. My mom and my stepdad still make fun of me for my choices in answering, and I still make fun of myself. But whatever, so I didn't get that one. And then I applied with another airline. I made it all the way to the end of the assessment day, and their assessment day worked where they cut people throughout the day, and so it was like 5 o'clock, and I had an interview with a one-on-one interview with an HR personnel person, and she just didn't, I don't think she liked me. The very first question she asked me, we did not click. She asked me what I had done to research to get the job with, it was Alaska Airlines. And I was like, oh, I've researched your company. It's a great company, a good reputation. I would be so proud to work for you guys. And she was like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, do you know the weather conditions in Alaska? Do you know the seasons, driving conditions, apartment prices? I was like, no. I was like, honestly, no, I haven't researched that yet. And she was like, and marked something down. And I was like, what did she just mark? Yeah, no, sweetie, that was a definite, like, crossed out my name mark. So I did apply for a few, but I kept trying, and third time was a charm for me, and I got my job, and I couldn't be more happy than with the company that I got selected to work for. The second part, what was your job before you got hired to be a flight attendant? And my job was, I worked at a startup gaming company in Santa Monica, kind of like a tech company. And I basically was office manager. I ran the office, and I planned events and stuff for the startup company. Next question is from Julian Loves Airplanes. Have you ever considered switching airlines? So, no, Julian, you don't switch airlines. So it's funny how some people say, oh, well, Delta has this, and then American has this, and oh, you know, they work for United, they need to switch over to Delta. When you become a flight attendant and you get the job, you start with a very high seniority. So like my company has, I don't know, I think 25,000 flight attendants or something like that. I started off with a seniority number of like 17,000, and over the past 2 years, I'm almost in the 15,000s. So every year, every few months, as people retire, as you know, people leave the company or whatnot, my seniority goes down. And so what that means is when your seniority goes down, we bid every month for a schedule, so you bid for better trips. So most people like to fly international, they like to fly, you know, high time trips, more hours, more money. Some people just like to fly turns, and so they can be back every day with their family. Some people don't like to work weekends. So the higher seniority or the lower seniority you have, the better trips, the better schedule, the more flexibility you're gonna have with your schedule. So once you get that, you do not want to lose it. And then also, every year that you're with your airline, you make more money. So your seniority counts all the way around, and no, once you start with a company, you do not want to switch. Next question we have here is from AMJ401. Are you happy with apartment choice in NYC and overall update on BART and NYC? So, are we happy with our apartment choice? I love my apartment. It's coming along. You guys see I'm on my new couch here. I did not go with the Z Gallery couch. I actually went with the West Elm couch. And we still haven't got all our furniture from Germany, so we're still waiting for that. But I love the location of the apartment. I love all the light with the windows. It's fantastic. Never lived in a studio apartment, and it's been a little bit of an adjustment. You know, Bart wakes up every day really early and he has to go to work, and he likes to watch the news when he wakes up. He likes to eat his breakfast and, you know, just maybe listen to music or something, and I'm asleep. So it's like he has to do everything kind of like tiptoe and quiet. So lately he's been like trying to like wake me up too, like, hey babe, want to wake up and get your day started, so that way he can turn on the TV and watch his news channels. And it's just an adjustment, you know. I've lived in houses with 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and I've never lived in a studio, so we're getting used to it. We're gonna do this for a year, and then hopefully next year we can move into a 1-bedroom. Like, all I want is 1 bedroom. I don't even need 2. I don't need 2 bathrooms. I just need 1 bedroom. So, but I do like my apartment. I do, it's fun, and I love decorating it. It's coming along. Let's see, an overall update with Bart. It's been so much fun. Me and Bart finally lived together. We've been apart for like almost 2 years. We haven't lived together. We had lived together before in DC, in Washington, DC, and we had a cute little 1-bedroom apartment there, and then he went to Germany, so we didn't live together, and then now we do, and so it's fun. We get to have him here on the weekends. I try to bid for my weekends off so that I can hang out with him. We've been exploring the city and just enjoying being newlyweds. We've been married now for 3 months. It's very exciting, and I still haven't sent out my thank you cards from our wedding. They're sitting over there, and I need to get a marker. That's another question. All right, Jill 13, it's like Jillll 13 said, when you guys are at hotels, do you sometimes have to share rooms? So no, not with our airline. We never have to share a hotel room. That would never happen. It's in our contract that we get our own room. Each pilot gets their own room. Each flight attendant gets their own room. And yeah, so we would never have to share hotel rooms. And then also another question that I don't know if somebody asked it, but I didn't see it, is do we have to pay for our hotel rooms once we're on a trip? No, it's in our contract. The company takes care of transportation to and from the airport once we're on our sequence. So if we leave from JFK and we're going to, I don't know, Virginia, and we land, the We go outside the airport, there should be a vehicle ready for us to take us to our hotel, and we don't have to pay for it. All right, Justin Chen 121 asked, do you prefer international flights or domestic flights in your roster? Maybe rotation? I don't know, your schedule? So I prefer, I think when I first started, I preferred international because I just wanted to explore the whole world and be like, I'm in London drinking tea, I'm in Paris eating cookies, croissants, you know? But it's hard to fly international. Most of the time you fly overnight, so you work all night and then you get there and you're so excited you want to go explore, but you need a nap, like you need to sleep. And you guys have seen my vlogs when I get to London. I'm like, guys, I slept 3 hours, but I gotta go to Waitrose and I gotta go to Harrods and I want to go explore the Kensington Park. So domestic is a little easier because you can stay on your schedule, your sleep schedule a little bit better, and it's been fun. It's been fun exploring, you know, San Francisco, Seattle, Oregon. So I like both domestic and international. Obviously international is glamorous and exciting, so everyone wants to fly international. All right, next question. Taylor B4 asked, how/when did you realize that you wanted to be a flight attendant? So I had just gotten back into the country from a job I was working overseas, and I showed up at my mom's house and I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm moving back in. I quit my job and hello, here I am. Can I go to the spare bedroom? She was like, oh Lord, what's going on? And I was just like, I need a sabbatical. I don't want to work. I need to figure out, you know, what I want in life. And she actually has a best friend who is a Delta flight attendant and said I would be perfect to be a flight attendant, and that's the test I bombed. So I wasn't gonna be a Delta flight attendant. It wasn't in the cards for me, but my mom found my airline's hiring link, and she was like, oh my gosh, this airline's hiring too. They're just as, you know, they're just like Delta. And I was like, okay, Mom, I'll apply. I don't know if I want to be a flight attendant. And I applied, and you know, I thank her every day. I'm like, Mom, thank you so much for, you know me better than I do. So that's how I became a flight attendant. So random. Abby's, ABBIEESS _ asks, do you hate anything about being a flight attendant? And I think on one of my vlogs before, my friend Tiffany said that she didn't like, the worst thing about being a flight attendant was our eating schedules and trying to eat healthy. And that is 100% my worst thing about being a flight attendant as well. I struggle all the time with my weight. You know, I'm always trying to lose 5 pounds, and then maybe I'll gain a few, and then I'm like trying to lose more. And it's so hard to get on a healthy schedule. So now I'm like committed, like looking over at my kitchen, to packing my lunch every single trip that I have. And even if I don't always eat all my food, it, you know, deters me from eating McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or, you know, Bojangles chicken in whatever airport I'm at. So the eating is so hard because you can't make food on the airplane, and it's hard to pack for a whole 3-day trip. Or if you go international, sometimes you can't bring food into the country, you can't take food out of the country. So it's just this whole thing with eating. It's just constant struggle, and I'm only 2 years into being a flight attendant and I still haven't got it down quite yet. So that, I think, is the worst thing for me about being a flight attendant. Okay, next question here is from Alice Watson. Alicia Watson. Okay, is there a secret part of the plane that the passengers don't see where the flight attendant crew sleeps during long flights? Yes, yes, there are secret compartments. It looks like the flight attendants are going into a bathroom, but in most wide-body planes, in the middle of the plane, there's like this big section that looks almost like a bathroom, and the doors are locked, and the flight attendants go in there and they get like a 2-hour break or a 1-hour break, depending on how long the flight is, and there's bunk beds. And in the bunk beds, it's just like a normal little like bunk bed pod, and you know, it's got a curtain, and it's real dark in the room, and you kind of hear the buzz of the plane. Every time I go in there, I'm like passed out. And they have seat belts and we can hear all the announcement, but most of the time there's no announcements when we're in there unless like, you know, there's turbulence or something and we have to like get out and go take our jump seats. But those crew rest areas are the best, and the newer the plane, the better the crew bunk rest area is. It's so much fun. The next question here is from Yasmin Artiva. You and Bart seem so in love. Do you ever have arguments? Hashtag relationship goals. Yes, me and Bart have arguments. I always tell Bart that I'm like a neat freak. Not a neat freak, but I don't like clutter. Like if there's dishes in the sink when we're about to go to bed, I'm like up washing them. I pick up all of Francis' toys constantly and then Francis brings them all back out. And Bart is like a tornado or a Tasmanian devil. He comes home and he takes his socks off and like one sock is in the kitchen and like one sock's in the bathroom. And I'm like, how did your socks get, like how did that even happen? And then he's got like his watch in the kitchen on the stove. He's got his like crew, or not his crew, his work ID badge like on the TV. I'm like in the planter. I don't know how he does it. So we always have this argument that I'm like, Bart, we need to clean, like we need to clean, we need to pick up. And then it's just like constant and I'm like, I've just given up. So we do have arguments. We're just like any normal couple, you know, sometimes he's stressed out at work and, you know, he just comes home and he's frustrated and I'm like, oh, you're not gonna take that on me. Oh, and you guys saw my vlog the other day where he was so grouchy when he got back from the bachelor party and I was like, oh, I don't feel sorry for you staying up late drinking with your friends. Like, you're not gonna be grouchy to me. And then he started laughing and it was just like, you're right. But I think the key is like, it's just to not stay mad so long, you know, like when we fight or we get in arguments, you know, I think I tend to stay mad longer where Bart just forgets about it and is like, okay, I'm sorry. But for me, I stay mad a little longer, so I constantly am working and reminding myself, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with Bart, so why do I wanna be mad at him during that time? So yeah, we get in fights, we're normal. Isabel_802 asks, what did you major in college? Or what was your major in college? And my major was cinema and television arts with an emphasis in electronic multimedia management. I have no idea what that emphasis is, but basically it was all about creating and producing short films, commercials, radio ads, anything that had to do with film production. And I worked, you know, I interned on sets, I interned at PR firms, I interned at Paramount Studios. That was a lot of fun. I met Channing Tatum when I was in college. I was like, oh my God, I love you. I'm dying right now. I was like sweating. But I had a lot of fun doing that. And then, you know, through life, I got away from it. And then when I started my YouTube channel, all the editing and making fun vlogs, I was like, I'm right back to like square one, what I was always interested in, like even as a kid, creating little shows for my mom, you know. It's so my major was perfect for me and I feel like now I'm using it. All right, next question here is from Elliot G. Nelson, Elliot G. Nelson asked, how has being a flight attendant made you grow as a person from the first day on the line? Wow, so I would say I was always crazy, outgoing, and independent, but when I became a flight attendant, going to different countries like, you know, Sao Paulo or London or anywhere, and just being able to walk around by myself, go to museums by myself, go to the park by myself, eat dinner on a Friday night in a crazy busy restaurant by myself, do everything by myself. Most of the time, I would say it's 50-50. Sometimes I hang out with my crew, sometimes I'm just on my own. Like I got to London one of the last times and I needed to go to Harrods because I wanted to buy Christmas gifts. And none of my crew wanted to do that. They all wanted to do something else. And I was like, see ya, I gotta go do this. So I, you know, took my nap, I woke up, I got dressed and went. And I think being a flight attendant makes you independent, makes you know that, you know, you have to be able to be self-sufficient and do things yourself. And when you get to a layover, you have to know how to get an Uber, get directions to the local Target or the movie theaters or wherever you want to go and do. You've got to do it yourself. No one's going to help you. You've got to do it yourself. So I think it really helped me grow in that sense, and I love it. And I feel like even now, I'm like, I can do it myself. I can do it. I don't need help. I can do it. Okay, Samantha and Zena asked, how did you choose which airline to work for? So I always say my airline chose me, and a lot of people in training, when we were all going through training, said the exact same thing. You know, I applied to 3 different airlines, and I didn't really know which one I wanted to work for, but my airline picked me, and I'm so thankful every day that my airline picked me, because it's the biggest airline in the world, and there's so many different hubs, and it's given me so much opportunity, you know, because I feel like I wouldn't have been with my husband had it not been for my airline, because my airline flies to Germany, and I got to go for free, and I got to visit him all the time, and you know, through our engagement and then through our marriage, and my airline chose me, and I knew I wanted to work for mainline. There's different types of flight attendant positions that you can work for, like companies. There's like regional, which is kind of more local. You don't go that far. You don't really fly international. There's private, where you can do private jets, and you can even be a flight attendant in the military. And you could do mainline like me, or you could do international like Emirates. And so, but I just knew I wanted to do mainline. I wanted to be in a big, you know, commercial airline within the United States. So I kind of knew that, and then you just throw your cards out there, you apply everywhere, and you know, it's gonna land somewhere. Matthew Red Find asked, hello Stella, I'm a huge fan and I love your videos. What do you think your airline looks for specifically in FA candidates? What do you think one can do to stick out during the interview process? Fly safe and stay amazing. So one thing I know that the airline looks for is a big, bright, beautiful smile. So they want somebody who, when you walk on that airplane, they can see you standing there smiling, greeting their passengers as they come on the plane, assuring them that everything's gonna be okay. They want people who have had a lot of customer experience, who are compassionate, caring individuals that are strong, that can take charge of a situation in an emergency, and somebody who just smiles. So my one recommendation is that when you're at your interview day or you're doing your video interview, smile as much as possible. When you're talking, smile as you're talking. I mean, at the end of your interview day or video interview, your face should hurt from smiling so much. Giggle, have fun. Don't be fake, but like laugh at people, genuinely get along, try to make friends when you're at your interview day, because I can tell you, every time you go on a new trip, you're gonna have a whole different crew. If it's international, you can have like 13 crew members. If it's domestic, it's gonna be between 4 and 6 crew members. You're gonna be constantly meeting new people, and you're gonna be on this trip with them for 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 4 days. You have to get along with everybody. So that's what they're gonna look for when you're at your interview. You're smiling, you're getting along, you're laughing, because that's what's gonna happen on the plane. It's the exact same thing. And if you're not really doing that, it might not be the job for you. So that's what they're looking for. Penny asked, how did you and Bart meet? Me and Bart met on a dating app. Not, what is that one? Oh gosh, I can't even think of the name right now. Oh, how funny. It's that one that it's like the hookup one. I don't know. I wasn't on very many, so I didn't know, but we met on a dating app and we talked for 2 weeks just texting before we actually went on our first date. And I think from the moment I saw his picture, I tell him this, from the moment I saw his picture on his little profile and I swiped that I liked him or clicked that, you know, a heart on him or whatever, I just knew something was different about him. He had this smile. He was like sitting in an airplane seat, and he was like turned like this, smiling at the camera. And I adored his adorable little cheeks and smile. And I just knew something was different. And sure enough, it was. All right, guys, that's all the questions that I'm gonna answer today. There was I think 400 questions, and I was like, I can't get to all of those questions, but I appreciate you guys so much asking them. And they really, when I was reading them, I'm like, wow, these are some great questions. It really made me kind of sit down and think about these answers and what to say. I appreciate it so much. as soon as I upload this video and it goes live, I'm gonna be monitoring the comments down below, and I'm gonna try to answer more questions that you guys have. Maybe I didn't answer them on my Instagram, you know, page and all the questions that you asked there. So I'm gonna do my hardest to answer as many as I can. And if you're a flight attendant, you're watching this and you see questions down below that maybe I haven't got to, please feel free to answer. But thank you guys so much, and I appreciate all your questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.